We'll start in a seated position on your mat. And just however's comfortable. We're going to do one pranayama to start, nadi shodhana, so alternate nostril breathing. So right away, you can just get comfortable, getting your posture in correct alignment, just feeling, releasing any control over the breath. And then you can take your right hand, and what you'll do is put down your middle finger and your pointer finger, or put them together and you can rest them on your third eye, either one. And then you'll use your thumb for your right nostril, and then your pinky and ring finger for your left nostril. And we'll do about 7 rounds where you plug up the right nostril. Let me come closer. So you'll plug up the right nostril and take an inhale through the left. And then you plug up the left, so you have both of them plugged for maybe like a second. And then you open up the right and exhale that breath through the right. And then inhale back up through the right, plug it up, exhale through the left. And that's 1 round. So does that make sense? A little bit? Good, okay. So we'll do about 7 rounds of that. You can go at your own pace. So when you're ready, you can bring your hands up. I like to rest the 2 fingers on my third eye. And then start inhaling through the left. And release that through the right side. I'll let you go at your own pace. Whenever you're finished, you can release your hands and come to a comfortable seat and just observe any changes. Paying attention to the air as it enters in the nostril, like seeing the air and seeing it leave the opposite nostril. Whenever you've completed, you can just bring your hands to your lap, let the eyes close if they're not closed, and just observe any sensations. Notice if that brought you more into this space, or maybe not, and that's okay too. Now let's take a big inhale through both nostrils, filling up the whole belly, the chest, the heart, the head. Then take a big exhale, sigh it out. Let the shoulders drop. Let the belly soften. I'm starting to activate your Ujjayi breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose with that restriction in the back of your throat. And as you do this, you can gently start taking some circles with your neck. And I've been liking to do, you bring your ear toward your right shoulder, chin to the chest, and then ear to left shoulder. That makes a lot of sense for the way my body moves, if that works for you. And there's another one that's pretty nice. If you bring your head back up to center and bring your chin over your left shoulder, and then chin to center and chin over right shoulder. These are just really basic neck stretches you can do like throughout your day even. Awesome. And when you feel ready, no rush if you want to keep doing stuff with your neck. You can come into your butterfly pose, just bringing the soles of the feet together. Not super important what the distance is, but we're going to have more of an active butterfly pose to start. So really push the soles of your feet in toward each other, and then feel the outside edges of your thighs drawing toward the ground, and feel the spine be really straight. And you can hold the fronts of your shins. And we're going to do some cat-cows here. So as you inhale, bend your elbows kind of like in chaturanga. So you bring them close to your ribs and lift the heart, lift the chin slightly. And then as you exhale, you can curl the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone under. Great. And then you move through like that with your breath. So inhaling, so come forward, but keeping the feet actively pushing into each other. And this will activate the hip abductors more and opening the hips up toward the ground or the thighs. So do 2 more rounds. And then after your last round, you can meet back in the center and release the hands and just fold in your normal butterfly pose over the center, just for 3 breaths here. Relaxing the face, the neck, the hips. Not forcing yourself too deep, just for the first pose of the day. And then start to walk your hands over to frame your right thigh. Or your shoulders are framing the right thigh. And fold here. So you're in a gentle twist. And just notice if your left sit bone comes up at all. And then bring that back down to the ground. So only coming as far as your sit bones will allow. Still softening in the belly, in the face, in the neck, and shoulders. Great. And then you can start to walk the hands over to the other side and fold over your left thigh. And notice if one side feels a lot different, being sure to keep both of your sit bones rooted. And feeling a nice stretch down the back right side of you. Awesome. And then you can walk the hands back to center and cross the ankles. Plant the hands in front of the shins, roll over the ankles and come into tabletop. Or if there's another way, it's easier. We'll come into our tabletop position. With the wrists under shoulders, fingers spread so wide that you feel the skin stretching between each finger. Wrist creases parallel to the front edge of your mat. The feet are in line with the knees. And really just activating the hands, pushing them into the ground, moving into your cat-cows when you're ready. Inhaling to drop the belly and lift the tailbone and the gaze. And exhaling to pull navel to spine. And permission to close your eyes and move how you would like, letting this be your time to listen to your body, really warm up what is asking to be warmed up. And we'll move for about 5 more breaths. Taking 1 more full round of breath. And as you feel ready, we can meet back in our neutral tabletop. And as you inhale, rise your right arm out to the sky, open your heart up to the right, lift out of the left shoulder. Then exhale, thread the needle, bringing the right ear and shoulder to the ground. You won't be here for too long, so letting this be a little bit more active. So as you inhale, feeling your body fill up. And as you exhale, pushing into the ground, maybe looking toward the ceiling. 1 more breath. And then use your core and push into the ground with the left hand. Bring your right arm all the way back out and up. And exhale, release. We'll do that on the other side. When you're ready, inhale, arm or chest opens up to the left. Lift out of the right shoulder. Perfect. And exhale, thread the needle. I'm letting this be a little bit more active than usual. Each exhale, you push into the ground a little bit more. Turn your gaze toward the ceiling, almost as if you could peel your heart open toward the ceiling. Really getting there at all, but feeling what that would be like. Awesome. 1 more breath. And then use your core and push into the ground with the right hand. Bring yourself all the way back out and up. And exhale to release. Walk your hands forward, leave your hips where they are. We'll come into puppy pose, open up the heart. Melting the heart toward the ground, forehead or chin resting on the mat or a block. Good job. One more full breath. And then you can root into the forearms and the hands. Pull the navel up to the spine and snake your body forward into your Sphinx pose. So the pubic bone and hips are coming to the ground. Awesome. The elbows are just slightly in front of the shoulders. Looks good. And feel as if you could pull the floor towards your toes and pull your heart through your arms. The neck is neutral. Broadness across the collarbones. And actively push into the ground with your tops of your feet and your pubic bone. Activating the legs. Awesome. Exhale and release the forehead to the mat. Take one breath here. And then bring your hands under the shoulders and the elbows are pointing up toward the ceiling, hugging them in close toward the ribs. And then push the ground away, pull the navel up to the spine, bring yourself through a tabletop, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. The first down dog of the day, most likely, is taking some deep breaths, getting your alignment where it needs to be, letting the knees be as bent as they need to be. Keeping the hands really active. And even if the knees are bent, you can bend the knees and lift the sit bones as high as it goes. And then start to straighten out the legs, just to encourage more length in the spine. The armpits feeling as if they were facing each other. And that wrap around the shoulders. So I'm relaxing the face and the neck. Great. And then walk your hands forward or your feet forward just about a foot and bring them as wide as the mat. And we'll come into our down dog with a twist. So you can shift your weight toward your left hand and reach for the left ankle with the right hand. Great. And then you're looking underneath the left armpit, maybe pulling yourself a little closer to the leg on each exhale. Keeping the hips square to the mat as much as you can. And then we'll switch sides when you're ready. You can bring the right hand back and reach for your right ankle with the left hand. Keeping really strong in that right arm and hand. Awesome. And one more breath. And then you can release, come back to center, and just keep walking the feet up into your forward fold. So the feet are about 2 fists distance or hips width apart. Inhale to lift your heart and halfway lift. So really long spine, active core. And then exhale, release, forward fold. We'll be here for a few breaths. So see how much you can let go. Lift your hips even higher, even with the knees bent. And shift the weight more toward the balls of the feet. So it's almost as if you could slide a piece of paper underneath the heels. You're going forward first, and then down. Releasing any holding in the back, breathing into the spaces that are speaking the loudest. One more breath. And then slowly start to roll your way up to standing position. One vertebrae at a time. Roll the shoulders back at the top and the palms face outward in mountain pose. Awesome. I'm going to start getting into some movement. When you're ready, you can inhale, lift the arms up and sink the hips down into chair pose. Really feel length in the lower back. Perfect. And feel your inner thighs being magnetically drawn in toward each other. You should always be able to see your toes. And if you want more of a challenge, you can start to bring the biceps more up alongside the ears. But if you do that and you notice that the lower back starts to arch, you start to tuck the tailbone back under. One more breath here. And exhale, forward fold, lift the hips, straighten out the legs, and release the head. Great. Now plant the hands down and step your left foot back into a low lunge. You can let the knee come down. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels better. And just for a moment, we'll release the head so that you feel this deeper in the left hip flexor, if that feels okay for you. Okay. And then start to walk the hands up onto the right thigh and bring yourself up to your low lunge. And as you're here, feel the inner thighs being drawn in toward each other, so you feel a slight lift when you do that. Lift your heart away from the thigh. Awesome. Notice that where the weight is on your right foot. Let that be even. Let your toes be there for extra support. Great. Now you can plant your hands down around this front foot. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, step back to plank. Move through a vinyasa of your choice, and we'll meet in our down dogs. Letting it go when you arrive. And when you're ready, you can step your left foot forward and drop your right knee down into our low lunge. You can untuck the toes and release the head for just a moment just to get deeper into the right hip flexor. Great. Then you can bring your hands on top of the left thigh this time, and we'll come into our low lunge. And lifting the heart away from the thigh, inner thighs being pulled in toward each other. Tailbone tucking toward the ground, so feel more length in your lower back. And keeping your back leg active as well, so the top of the back foot pushing into the ground. Feeling all the little elements of this pose. And then you can bring your hands down to frame your front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then step forward into your forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, release. This time we'll inhale into our chair pose, sink the hips down, lift the arms up. One breath here. Inhale. And exhale, straighten out the legs, release the arms, mountain pose. Inhale, sink the hips down, lift the arms up, chair pose again. 2 breaths here. Really feel the strength and power in your legs and your glutes. And then exhale, release, forward fold. Awesome. Take 1 breath here. And then when you're ready, you can plant the hands down, step your right foot back this time into your low lunge. Drop the knee, untuck the toes. This time we'll rise right up. You can lift the arms up. Great, so just remembering your alignment here, remembering the strength of the legs, the things that are active. And then we'll come into a twist in a little different way than usual. So you can bring your left hand to your hip and reach across your body with the right arm. So you're reaching kind of in the direction of your knee and then feeling that. And then you can bring your hands to heart center. So then you can bend your right elbow, bring your hands to prayer. And then as you inhale, feel the spine lengthen, feel the crown of the head reach forward. And as you exhale, look over the left shoulder. You're feeling the outside of your right knee pushing into the right elbow, the same amount as the elbow's pushing back. Perfect. And then you can release your hands in prayer. Bring your hands back down to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift that knee, and come back to your plank. Move through a vinyasa, and we'll meet in a down dog. This time you can step your right foot forward coming into our low lunge, letting the left knee drop down, untuck the toes, and rise the arms right up into your low lunge. Remember, keeping the back leg active as well, not forgetting about that. Inner thighs being drawn toward each other. And then you can bring your right hand to your hip and just reach across the body, coming into that twist when you're ready. And bring your hands to prayer. Great. As you inhale, feel the crown of your head reach up and forward. And as you exhale, maybe you start to look over the right shoulder. Finding a focal point, might be a little shaky here. You can always look down at the ground, that can be helpful. 2 more breaths. And you can release the hands in prayer, come back to center, tuck the back toes, lift that knee, and step up into a halfway lift. Long spine as you inhale. And exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips down, lift the arms up, chair pose. And exhale, straighten out the legs, release the arms into mountain pose. Pause for just a moment. Observe any shifts in the mind or body so far. And then when you're ready, you can inhale and sink the hips down, lift the arms up to your chair pose. And this time we'll add in a chair pose twist. So your feet can be hips width distance still, or the feet can be together, whatever makes more sense for you. I find it easier to have my feet further apart. So you can bring your hands to heart center and start to turn your heart toward the right. And as you do that, take a peek at your knees and make sure that your right knee is going to want to come back and left knee is going to want to come forward. So make sure that they stay even with each other. And then if you can hook your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Keep sinking the hips down. Great. Perfect. Inhale, come to center. Exhale to the other side. Start to twist to the left. Again, notice the knees. It's always easier to look down toward the ground if you want. And if you want more of a challenge, you can look toward the left or toward the ceiling. Good. Great. And then come back to center. 1 breath here in the center. Really feel the legs working. And then exhale, forward fold. Release the head. Release the legs. Take a breath. Awesome. Then when you're ready, you can step your left foot back. And this time, option is stay in the high lunge. So you don't have to come bring the knee down if you don't want to. And then you can bring the arms up, coming right into our high lunge. And similar cues as when the back knee was on the ground. Feel the inner thighs draw toward each other. Lift the back side of your back knee and feel the heel reaching back behind you. Perfect. Feel really strong in your front foot. Great. And then you can bring your right hand to your hip and then reach across your body with the left arm. Come into that twist, this time standing up. So yeah, left arm reaches across, perfect. Hands come to heart center. Really feel the back, don't forget about the back leg. That's really important here. Perfect. 1 more breath. And then you can look down at the ground, plant your hands down, step back to a plank, move through a vinyasa flow, and we'll meet in a down dog. Remembering to stay with your breath at all times. And when you start to sweat, or if a pose starts to feel harder, let that be a cue to deepen the breath even more, make it audible. Ujjayi. All right, so when you're ready, you can step your left foot forward and we'll come into a high lunge. You can raise the arms up. Run our lunge on the other side. Great. So remembering your cues here, your hips are scissoring, so the thighs are coming in toward each other, back heels reaching for the back of the room. Back leg is really active. Tailbone feels like it's kind of tucking down, just encouraging more length in your lower back. Great. And then we'll come to a twist when you're ready. So you can leave the left hand on the hip, reach across your body, get really long in the back right side, and then bring your hands to prayer. Looking that knee, perfect. So making sure that your front knee stays over the ankle. It's going to want to buckle in a bit. Just keep pushing it out. Feel good. Another breath. And then you can turn back to center, bring the hands down to frame the front foot, and step up into a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Awesome. Inhale, chair pose briefly. And exhale, mountain pose. Straighten the legs, release the arms. Take a few breaths here. Let the breath catch up with you. Notice any feelings, any thoughts. And we'll do one final flow, making it, adding everything in together. And then we'll do a balancing pose, and then we'll start to cool down. When you're ready, you can inhale into your chair pose, sinking the hips, lifting the heart. Great. And then bring your hands to heart center, and we'll twist to the left. So you can hook the right elbow on the outside of the left knee. And then this is an option, because this might not be in it today, but it kind of looks like it is. So you can look down at the ground in between the legs. And then with so much control and strength in your core and legs, you can slowly step your right foot back into a high lunge twist. Yeah. You can do it. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So we'll take one breath here. And then see if you can step that foot forward. So with control, looking down at the ground, step that foot forward back into your chair twist. So good. And then come to center. Exhale, release, forward fold. Straighten out the legs, maybe shake them out. And then we'll do that on the other side. You can inhale into chair pose, sink the hips, lift the heart. And then hands come to heart center and twist to your right. Feel your balance and steadiness here, and then look down at the ground. And with so much strength and control, you can slowly step your left foot back. So good. A breath here. Feel the strength. And then look back down at the ground, and with control, step that foot forward into your chair twist. Awesome. Inhale to center in your chair, one final chair. And then exhale, release, forward fold, let it go. Maybe you tap out the legs or shake them out, whatever you gotta do. We'll just do one more thing that requires some effort, and then we'll start to cool down. So you can plant the hands down, step back to plank. You can come right into a down dog here if you'd like, or move through a flow, but we'll meet in our down dogs. All right, so when you're ready, you can raise your right leg back and up, and take a moment to open up that hip. Yeah, I didn't get too much into the hips yet today. Just take that moment here. Great. And then you can level out the hips, and then using your core, step your right foot to the top of your mat. And if you have blocks or anything nearby, they're going to be really helpful here. So I'm going to start to shift more weight onto your right foot and raise the left toes off of the ground. So you're in a warrior 3 type of pose. So we're not, the goal should be just to have your hips square to the mat, and your foot shouldn't come above hip level. You're kind of like in an airplane. Yeah, great. And then with your right hand up and to the right of your right foot on a block or on the floor, Just start to stack your left hip on top of the right. So you're coming into a half moon pose. Keep your back foot really active. Keep your core and your lower belly really active. And you might just stay there with the legs, or you can bring your left hand onto your hip and start to open up the chest into your fuller half moon. But just stay wherever is good for you today. No worries. So then we'll just do one more on this side. So you can come back to your warrior 3 with the hands on the ground, and we'll come into a revolved half moon. So this time, so you keep that left leg lifted, and now put your left hand on the ground up into the left of the right foot, and then start to rise your right arm up to the sky. So you're in like a twist. And yeah, you can always bring your hand to your hip too. Just keeping the core really active, lower belly pulls up. So good. Okay, now release into forward fold. Let it go. Big exhale, shake the head, yes and no. We got one more side, and then we're done, I promise. So we can step back to a down dog. When you're ready, inhaling the left leg up and open up that hip. Back and left hip on top of right. Sit that on the other side, so it should feel a little bit more open. And then when you're ready, you can step your left foot to the top of your mat. And with your blocks or hands on the floor, just start to shift your weight to the left foot and rise the right toes off the ground. Just keeping your back leg active the whole time instead of holding up dead weight. It makes it a lot easier. Then slowly start to shift more weight into the left hand. Start to roll your right hip on top of left. And as you do this, try to keep your back leg straight and try to reach through the heel so you can really flex the foot. Yeah. And then feel as if your right hip is rolling on top of the left. And you should be able to see your toes if you looked back. It might get wobbly, but feel your lower belly pull in and up. Perfect. Maybe the right hand comes to the hip, maybe not. Either way is good. Great, and then you can come back to center and we'll do a revolved half moon. So the hips stay square, the weight is in the right hand, and then your left hand can come to your sacrum or to your hip as you start to peel the heart open to the left. Maybe that arm rises up. Funky pose. So good. So strong. Okay. And then when you're ready, when you feel even, come back to center. Come to your forward fold and just let it go. You're going to start to cool down. When you're ready, you can rise yourself all the way up to stand, reach the arms out and up, get really big. And then exhale the hands to heart center. Relax the face, relax the shoulders. Feel the heartbeat into the thumbs. Feel the thumbs beating back into the heart. Feel the breath moving steady. When you're ready, inhale, reach the arms up, maybe a slight back bend. And then exhale, dive forward, lead with your heart into forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back. You can come into a tabletop or a down dog, it's your choice, but we're gonna come into a pigeon pose. When you're ready, you can bring your left knee to the back of the left wrist, and the foot comes off to the right side of the mat. And then start to inch your right knee back. Just take a peek back, make sure that this leg stays in line with the hip. And maybe staying lifted. And then if you want to start to come forward, walk the hands forward first, keeping that length in the spine, and then come onto the forearms, onto the hands, wherever you'd like to rest. Releasing any holding in the hips. Feeling softness in the belly. And be here for about 7 more full and slow, steady exhales. Just letting yourself be here fully. Relax the forehead even more. Relax the jaw even more. One more full breath. And very slowly, you can start to come onto the hands. Tuck the right toes under and start to scooch that knee and hip forward. And you can push back into a 3-legged down dog or table and just shake out the left leg. And then you can do that on the other side whenever you're ready. You can take your time, just bringing the right knee behind the right wrist as you feel ready. Coming into your pigeon pose on the other side. Remembering to keep some length in your spine and maybe scanning your body from the tips of your left toes through the leg, through the sacrum, lower back, middle back, upper back, through the neck, and through the very crown of the head. Just noticing the full length of your body. As you inhale, you can scan your body upwards. And as you exhale, you can scan your body downwards. Letting yourself surrender just a little bit more each exhale. Taking about 7 more breaths here. Long and slow. One more full breath. And then very slowly you can start to come onto the hands. And you can make your way to a seat. So if you want to go back to a down dog and shake out the leg, you can do that. Or you can shift your weight onto the right hip and just bring the legs out in front of you. Shake out the legs here. So we'll come into a hamstring stretch when you're ready. If you want to elevate the hips, you can. And if not, you can just pull back on the flesh of your sits bones so that you feel the bones rooting down. And you can even grab your thighs and pull and kind of rotate them inwards. It can help too. When you're ready, you can lengthen the spine as you inhale and start to hinge a bit as you exhale. You can continue to move like this, keeping the legs relatively active, keeping the spine active if this feels good for you. And if you want to take a more restorative approach, you can do that also. You can maybe put a bend in the knees and release the spine. It's completely up to you. trusting how your body feels this morning. And you might feel this more in your spine, in your back. Maybe you feel this more in the hamstrings, or maybe somewhere else entirely. Wherever you're feeling this the most, try to bring all of your attention to that area, instead of distracting or running away from the sensations that are the loudest. Just practicing sitting with that discomfort, sitting with whatever in your body is speaking loud, breathing into that space. And this is as simple as thinking about that area as you inhale, and thinking about that area releasing and expanding as you exhale. You can take about 5 more breaths like this. You can relax the head even more. Relax the face even more. And then slowly you can start to come back up to your seat and straighten out the spine. You can bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Maybe take a few windshield wipers to release the hips, massage out the glutes. And then when you feel ready, you can bring the knees back up and start to come down and lay on your back. Releasing the head to the mat. It can be however you're comfortable just for now. And feel the body surrender just for a moment. And then start to bring the soles of your feet to the ground if they're not there. And bring the heels a little closer to the glutes so that when your arms are reaching alongside, your fingertips should be able to graze the backs of the heels. Great. And now, as you inhale, push the arms into the ground and lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Into your bridge pose. Feel as if there's a block in between the thighs and you're squeezing the inner thighs toward each other. You can squeeze the glutes here because they're naturally going to want to squeeze, but then release the glutes and see what happens. And you can do that a few times. Maybe squeeze them, lift higher, and release them. Because with the glutes being such a strong muscle in our body, a lot of times when they're active, all the other muscles take a break. So to strengthen the other muscles, sometimes it helps us to release the glutes. So really pushing into the ground with the arms. One more breath like this. And then slowly start to come down onto your back, rolling down one vertebra at a time if you can. Releasing. You can maybe windshield wiper the knees or do something you want to reset. And then when you're ready, we'll do one more round of a bridge pose. So you can bring your feet back in close to the glutes. And as you're ready, inhaling to lift the hips up. And maybe this time you start to roll the shoulder blades under the spine and interlace the hands underneath the hips. So you really feel the heart coming up toward the chin and feel the back of your neck be flat against the mat. The chin tucking down toward the chest, but making sure you can still breathe, making sure your breath is staying with you. Feeling the strength of your legs squeezing toward each other. One more breath, lifting a little bit higher. Awesome. And then exhale, slowly roll the shoulders down first and set one vertebrae at a time if you can, coming back. And hug the knees in toward the chest and rock a few times side to side. Massage the lower back against the mat. So if you're feeling good and like you're ready to rest, feel free to do so whenever. But if you want to do a little bit more, we can come into a plow pose. So just making sure that if you are coming into shoulder stand and then to plow, that you just keep your head straight, keep it where it is. So you don't want to look toward the screen or anything. So when you're ready, you can hug the knees toward the chest and use your lower belly to lift the legs up toward the sky. Using your hands to support your back, you can walk the hands up the spine toward the neck. Use your core, tighten up your belly, tighten up the legs, feeling all the muscles be so strong. And then coming into plow, you can slowly start to hinge at your hips and use your core strength to slowly lower the feet down to the ground. Awesome. And permission to play. You can stay here. You can widen the legs into like a wide leg forward fold type of thing. You can keep the knees straight, or you can bend them coming into a snail posture. Whatever feels good. And then whenever you're ready to come out of this, you can come in the way, or you can exit the way that you came into it. So you can come back up to a shoulder stand if you'd want, and then slowly with your core strength, lower your back down to the mat. This, however, feels safe and comfortable for you. Awesome. Releasing here just for a moment. We'll do a counter in a moment, but first just let your body settle. And then when you're ready to counter that, you can come into a fish pose. So you can straighten out the legs and prop yourself up on your elbows. So inching the elbows back toward the shoulders. Great. And then as you inhale, lift your heart and tuck, throw your head back kind of and bring the top of your head onto the mat. And if that doesn't feel good on the neck at all, you can just stay lifted up with the heart lifting, just to looks good. One more breath like that. And then when you're ready, calm back down, lay on your back, release, let it go. And bring your knees back up toward the chest. Reach the feet up toward the sky. Maybe shake them out, release them here. And then just let them go. You can bring the arms up to do the same whenever you want. We did a lot of work today in the core and the belly and the legs. So really just feeling all these areas settling. Releasing any tension that wants to stay holding on. Allowing yourself to be still. When you're ready, you can bend the knees and come into your happy baby. Doing whatever feels right, whatever feels good here. And then release the feet. You can bring them back to the ground. And if you want to take some torso twists before your Shavasana, you can do so. And if you're ready to come right into your Shavasana, you can do that as well. Any last little movements that you need to take, feel free to take them. And then when you are ready, releasing, feeling The tailbone tucks slightly under so that your lower back is a little bit more supported. The palms can face up by your sides. As you exhale now, let a wave of softness and release spread across your body. And trust that you did all of the work you needed to do, and you've already received the benefits. Let your body surrender closer to the mat with each exhale. As you feel the healing benefits of this practice dancing throughout the body. Allowing yourself to rest in stillness for another few minutes. Notice how the body's feeling. Notice how slow your breath has become. Notice the pulsing and the lightness of the body. If you would like to rest in this longer, you can feel free to do so. And if you're ready to start to slowly come out of this, you can allow my cues to guide you. First off, deepening the breath, feeling air coming back into the body, filling up every corner. And gently wiggling the toes and fingers, maybe the wrists and the ankles. You can reach up and take a nice morning stretch, getting nice and long. Maybe letting out a yawn. Making your way into a fetal position when you're ready. And then as you feel ready, leaving the eyes closed, you can come up gently to your seat. We're going to end class today with one Om. You can bring your hands to heart center. As you take a big inhale to prepare, take a nice cleansing exhale. And then inhale. And exhale to Om. Thanking yourself for your practice. And may it continue to heal you throughout the rest of your weekend. Namaste.